Jay here for Stretford Paddock. That's Joe Smith.
Come on!
This is Paddock Live. Yes, we're live, so that means you lot get involved in the comments in the chat. Joseph, what we're going to be talking about tonight?
Big news today. We've got transfers. We're looking at a potential move for Mateo Kovacic. We're also looking at this whole scenario.
This smorgasbord of people.
News coming out today that Sheikh Jassim, Qatar's bid, would potentially look towards bringing in some former United players, current United legends, in various different roles around the club. We can discuss whether that's a good idea or a bad idea. Get your thoughts in the comments. We'll come to that in a little bit. All sorts to go over today. Also, this show is brought to you by BetVictor and Last Fan Standing. We will also hear from Adam McCullough as part of that in just a few minutes. But before that, my voice is slightly going. I don't know why, Jay. I've been coughing all night. Do excuse me at home. Let's start with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because we're finally starting to hear. To me, this smells like an NDA running out. Does it to you? How long has it been since we sacked him? Is it by any chance exactly 1 year? Because if so, it's no surprise we're just starting to hear a little dribs and drabs from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Do you think his NDA is not longer than a year?
I don't know.
Do you think, like, I get the fact we are hearing from him, but I think his NDA's got to be a few years.
Maybe, because Van Gaal's was 2 years, wasn't it?
And Jose is a while as well.
Yeah.
I can't see him going, in a year you can spill the beans. I know Ollie left on good terms. He did a post-leaving interview or whatever, and he still, like, obviously got ties to the clubs. But, yeah, maybe it is. Maybe it is a year because they're just sort of taking it the fact that he won't want to just burn all his bridges at the club. Go on then. Are you all right to talk us through this, or do you need me to?
Absolutely.
Go on,
no,
son.
my voice is here. It's just slightly impaired. Solskjaer interview. The Athletic spoke to former Manchester United manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer about his former colleagues. He said, talking about Michael Carrick, I love him as a person, but while he never said anything to me about it, the day I got booted, I went to see him and said, I'm gone, they want you to take over. I told him I wanted him to do it. After 10 days, Michael came to me and said, I don't want to do this. On Kieran McKenna, he said he's the most thorough and analytical, step-by-step, process-driven coach that I've worked with. He makes it so easy for the players to see and understand what we want from them. Just on this initially, I don't quite understand this. He never said anything to me about it. Are we missing some context there? Because he never said anything to Solskjaer about taking over the job, but he did because he spoke to him about it.
Yeah, you know, the day I got booted, I went to see him and said, I'm gone. Right, yeah. I kind of get it. Yeah. I think almost just ignore the top three lines, shall we say, or the top two lines. Yeah, and so the day I got booted, I went to see him and said, I'm gone, they want you to take over. I told him I wanted him to do it. After 10 days, Michael came to me and said, I don't want to do this.
Do you think that means, what, there was an option that he could have been the manager to the end of the season?
No, I don't think so, because you remember when he left, Rangnick was appointed relatively quickly.
Yeah.
But Carrick carried on, didn't he, as caretaker. And then the Arsenal game was where Rangnick was in the stands. Yeah. Funnily enough, the Arsenal game was probably the highlight of the season. And I know that sounds proper too, Bob, a win over Arsenal at home. But it was a 3-2 win, a really good game.
The first time we'd beaten him in the league in 2 years.
It put us in prime position for the top four. Carrick got us through the group stage in Europe in those few games that he managed, got us into the top four with that win over Arsenal, and then left, you know, in a good position, like everyone sort of wished him well. Yeah. And with hindsight, I know hindsight is a wonderful thing, we should have had him till the end of the season because Rangnick didn't really do anything of note. And at least then with Carrick, he could have continued what he was doing, he knew the players. But everyone, I think the fans that we spoke to, and you may disagree, but I remember the conversation going around was, Carrick will be another role in, we don't want that. We need something else. Let's have a bit of gegenpress.
There was a lot of a bit of gegenpress. There was a lot of talk as well, wasn't there, that these two are actually the reason that he got sacked is his coaches. You look at McKenna, you look at Carrick, both of them hugely successful so far in their seasons as managers. McKenna, Ipswich have been promoted to the Championship automatically, I think they were in the League One for 3 or 4 years already. 4 years they'd been in there, and then McKenna comes in, and not just did they get promoted automatically, they got something like 97 points, 98 points, and scored the most goals of any team in the Football League. Like, unbelievable numbers. And then Carrick took over a Middlesbrough fighting relegation and has taken them to, I think, 3rd or 4th, and they'll be in the playoffs in the Championship. So there's clearly, managerial and coaching acumen there. Maybe not quite at the level United needed, but it seems to me like they were sort of made to be scapegoats by people because they're the invisible forces that we don't know how good they are, so they could be shit. Do you know what I mean? No one saw Carrick and McKenna in training.
It was so weird that people with no evidence whatsoever and no knowledge or possibility of getting any evidence just made this decision. It wasn't even an assumption, it was like a decision. They're the reason we've struggled.
They're the problem.
They're the issue. They're not good coaches. Based on what? Where's your evidence for that? What are you getting that? Where are you getting that from? They might not have been great. We don't know. But I do know that whilst they were coaches there, we still managed to finish 3rd and 2nd. It's not like the tenure of Ole was a disaster. And I think it's been painted in the wrong picture all this time, because everyone just sort of remembers the last sort of few months where it all went wrong, the end of his first season where it was going wrong. There was 2 good seasons, especially in the league, where, if we finished 3rd this season, we'd be buzzing. If we finished 2nd next season, we'd probably be pretty pleased with that because it's progress. So it wasn't all bad. I'm not saying Ole was the right man for the job, because he wasn't. I think long term, he had a ceiling, he got found out a little bit, and it was time for him to move on.
I also think he was slightly unlucky, Solskjaer. And
go on.
In that he, to me, is really unfortunate to have left the job without winning a trophy. I think he was good enough to win a trophy. I do think that. And I think he deserved one as well. We should have won that Europa League. And I think we were the better team. Maybe not the whole game, I thought we struggled, but we had the better players. We missed Maguire, which is mad to say now, but he was so instrumental that season. Played every single league game that season, was by far our best defender, and then obviously missed the final. We conceded from a set piece, which
he was his guy as well, wasn't he?
He's so good at.
He was his guy.
Yeah, was it Moreno, wasn't it? Gerard Moreno
it was Ollie bought him, and if we'd have won something with him playing, and it would have been a different narrative. No, you're right. I feel he was a bit unlucky. And I think hopefully history will be a bit kinder towards Ollie in his managerial career, because he's looked at it as a bit of a figure of fun, isn't he?
And I think as well, in the same way that Fred and McTominay have got this sort of destiny bond, where they will always be remembered as almost sort of two heart. Do you know you get those when you're 13? You mostly women get them, girls get them, where it's like 2 hearts of a love heart necklace, and it shows that you're best friends forever.
Are you trying to tell me that you threw your half away? Because I've not seen you wearing it once since I got it here.
Well, I ain't got it around my wrist, put it that way. But it is chafing a little bit, so I might have to put a few loops in that. But it's like McTominay and Fred are 2 halves of the same love heart. You know what I mean? And I almost felt like Solskjaer and Lampard got put together as well.
Yeah.
They were kind of fused together in this legend takes over at top 4 club and they're out of their depth thing. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is a far, far better manager than Frank Lampard. And I do think that comparison to him has hindered. I saw a tweet the other day, who's the worst manager out of these 4? Or who had the most disastrous spell? And it was Rangnick, Gerrard at Villa, Lampard at Chelsea, and Solskjaer. You think, how is Solskjaer in that conversation?
No.
How is he in the same conversation? A man who finished 3rd and 2nd, got to 4 semi-finals, got to 1 final that we only lost on a penalty taken by our goalkeeper. And you're comparing him to Frank Lampard, who is currently having the worst season any manager has ever had. What are you talking about? Like, I feel bad for Solskjaer, but good, nice to see him doing some conversations, getting out there, being interviewed.
It's mad how winning a trophy changes the entire complexion as well. Like, if we not won that Carabao Cup, people would be gunning for Erik ten Hag now. Not everyone, but there'd be people going, I don't know if he's the right guy.
Yep.
I think winning it made a lot of people, like, you believe in him. I know a lot of people already did, but it gave him that. Look at Arteta. That FA Cup win he got in his first season did so much heavy lifting.
He wouldn't be there at the start of the season if he hadn't won.
No. Do you remember that run that Arsenal had where it was like
5th.
10 games, 1 win ironically against us, 3 draws and 7 losses, or something stupid anyway. It was something horrible. And yet they persevered with him, and obviously now he's flying. So yeah, I think that really mattered. That
he did better than Conte did at Tottenham.
Yeah.
He did better than Emery did at Arsenal.
Yeah.
He did better than obviously Lampard did at Chelsea.
Yeah.
Like, he's done better than so many good or supposedly good managers, and yet he still gets disrespected. Like I said, I don't think he was the man to take us and get us back to the top, win Premier Leagues, but I think he deserved a trophy, and he's better than a lot of people like to make out, certainly by the time he got sacked.
Before we move on, I'll get into some of the comments, loads of comments. Make sure as well you are hitting that like button.
Hit like!
Jordan Clark says, Ollie better than no league Gerrard. I like that.
Absolutely.
Peter McCarthy in the super chat says, just so Jay has a name he can pronounce. Thank you, brother. Good vibes, Glenn, who's been a member for 26 months. Always good to see Glenn here. Says, Jay, I love you, man. And Scotty, you give me the strength to stay sober when I'm not doing so well. Up the Reds and up the Paddock. And love to you and Joe, you star. Thank you, Glenn. Much, stay strong, brother. Yes. Johnny Piper as well says, Maguire Ronaldo cost Ollie his job. I think that's an oversimplification of it. I'll be honest with you. I know towards the end when he was about to get sacked, it wasn't great, but I don't know if you can blame Ronaldo and all. And why I think maybe the Ronaldo signing, people looked at it and go, but Martial began to fall off a cliff. I don't know if that's a cause and effect. Cavani as well. It just all seemed to go wrong, didn't it?
Yes.
For a multitude of reasons. But yeah, I do feel a little bit sorry for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And no matter what, he's still going to be revered in United circles because of that goal in the Nou Camp and all the rest he did as a player, even if you don't rate him as a manager. Should we move on?
Yes. Adam McCullough has been speaking to Bet Victor over there on the Last Fan Standing podcast, talking about if United can challenge in next season's Premier League and whether the new owners will help facilitate that. Let's see what he had to say.
Ads, what does Man United have to do to become challengers next season? Like what in a dream?
Sort our ownership situation out for starters. That's not going to help anything. You know, managers want to start looking at who they want to sign, who they want to bring in, what your transfer budget is.
Have you considered, Adam, what you're going to blame for losing games if you get different owners? Like, what are you going to talk about when you lose a game of football?
If we get new owners, you lot are probably. Everyone's probably effed, by the way, because I'm glad I've sent to myself there. I hate that I did that. But yous lot have had it. Yous lot have had it, yeah. Because we won't be like City, where we have to worry about what we're spending. Oh no, FFP, this, that and the other. The amount of money that Manchester United create in revenue and stuff means we're going to be able to spend ridiculous amounts of money if we have owners that want to do it.
Spending ridiculous amounts of money for the last 10 years.
But at the same time, look at the club, yeah. And I know yous lot are twerking for your owners at the moment and pretending they're all fine. But if you look at the club, we bought in Weghorst from Burnley on loan. They didn't even want him, and we've brought him in on loan. We've got some absolute stinkers playing for our club still, and somehow Ten Hag's got through this season without.
Isn't that because your manager chose to let Cristiano Ronaldo leave?
Well, Cristiano Ronaldo leaving, and by the way, you agreed with it at the time. Cristiano Ronaldo leaving was the right thing for the club. I think everyone could see that. So
yeah, so essentially,
would he have scored more goals than Wout Weghorst in the end of the season?
Yeah, but I'd score more goals than Wout Weghorst.
I just wanted yes or no. It's fine.
I don't think that's like, you know, we could bring Louis Saha back with his glass knees and he'd score more than Wout Weghorst.
Cool. Ronaldo would score more goals than Weghorst. Cool, good to know.
I didn't say wouldn't. I didn't say wouldn't.
That's Adam McCullough with Last Man Standing for Bet Victor, making a point about new owners coming in, the difference that's going to make. And then I think it was Paul Machin from Redmen TV was sort of saying, oh, you're going to blame the owners, what are you going to do when you're losing under the owners? And you've spent a lot of money with these owners and all that stuff. And it's an argument, to be fair, that's made a lot by non-United fans and even a few United fans. We have spent money and we have misspent a lot of money, but we've also stopped spending money when we need to. And the prime example that Macca pointed out there was in January. And I said this so many times on my news, I'm sick of saying it, but it's true. In January, we got to the situation when we had Martial out and we had Ronaldo gone because he'd made his position untenable. Yeah. He had to go. We were fighting on 4 fronts. So you didn't know all that going into the season, but you knew it in January when the window opened. So what do? You buy a striker. Any owner with half a brain or half a care about the club they own would go, right, I'm going to sanction some money, because we've always got money, don't give me that tosh we haven't, to go and spend, not 150 million on Osimhen or whatever, but 30, 40 million on a striker that can help get us over the line, get us these trophies, get us in the top 4, or keep us in the top 4, because even from a purely business point of view, that's going to be worth so much more to you, sort of almost nailing on that top 4 Champions League spot. These owners didn't do that. They went, you've had money in summer, so you're not having any money at all. Yeah. Even Arsenal, who've got owners they don't like, went and bought Leandro Trossard because they knew they were in a title race and they knew Jesus was injured. What did we do? And Macca pointed out there, Wout Weghorst comes in. And I hate the fact that Wout Weghorst has become a bit of a bogeyman and everyone blames him for everything. And I said this before about the kid. He's not the cause of our problems. He's a symptom. He's an example of what is going wrong. It's not like he's the reason that the season's sort of petering out or that we've been on all these problems. I mean, he's not helped, but he's a sort of example of how it's gone wrong, of why the Glazers are bad for Manchester United, because what did they do? In January, we went and got a striker on loan off Burnley. What did we do a few years ago? We went and got a striker who, in his last appearance in the last season in the Premier League, had gone 18 games without a goal and had been playing, was it China, where he was playing in Diallo.
Yeah.
You know, and even Edinson Cavani was a free agent and we waited that long to get him. He couldn't even play in the first few games. It's criminal. It actually is. So that's why these owners and the way they've gone about things are horrible, and that's why, as Mac has pointed out, you get owners who have a bit of a clue, have a bit of a plan, and can spend money. And I still think that, I know everyone's saying we need the Qatari owners and and I'm adamant that if we've got owners who are willing to put a bit of money, that's Sir Jim Ratcliffe for anyone, we can spend. If we're not taking out money and furnishing debt all the time, there's money to be spent there. I know Qatar has limitless amounts of money, but so do other billionaires, and they have enough money to keep United competitive and actually move us up a gear. So I don't think, for me, it's not Qatar or bust, because let me put it this way. If we don't get Qatar, if it's a different owner, does that mean United aren't going to compete anymore? So we should all just give up unless it's Qatar? I don't think that.
No.
I don't want to see the Glazers stay, and I don't want to see us be saddled with more debt, but I don't think it has to be Qatar.
No.
I think that there are other options, that's my point. I'm not saying it shouldn't be Qatar or it shouldn't be one of the others. I'm saying that isn't the case, that if it isn't Qatar, that's it, we're doomed. No. We're Manchester United, and as long as we've not got owners like the Glazers or any new owner comes in and just keeps the debt and keeps taking dividends and doesn't have a structure, doesn't invest in the team, then we are going to struggle. But there are other owners that are out there, and I'm hoping that whoever does come in, whether that's Qatar or anyone else, can make sure this manager's back properly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Big thank you to Bet Victor and Last Man Standing. Make sure you are getting involved in the chat and the comments. A few people getting involved in the chat as well. Daniel Berry says Qatar don't have limitless money. Ash Bash Sneaker says Jim doesn't have any money.
He's got more money than the Glazers by a lot.
Leonardo and stuff saying, I'm saying it shouldn't be Qatar. Jordan Clark says love United, hate Glazers. Graham Smith says debt-free United can compete with all the others. I agree, that's what I think. I think if we're debt-free and we generate some money and we don't take dividends out, we don't have to furnish this debt, which is a black hole, then we've got a chance of competing with the others. So yeah, I'm just sceptical of the idea that it has to be Qatar, otherwise we're all just doomed. I think there's a bigger conversation to be had. Jay Cuda says Sir Jim is another version of the Glazers. It's mad, isn't it? Because it wasn't that long ago everyone was loving Jim Ratcliffe.
I don't get why he's another version of the Glazers. The two biggest issues that the Glazers had is they put us in debt and they are shocking at running a football club.
Yeah.
We don't there's no evidence that Jim Ratcliffe is as bad as the Glazers at running a football club, and he's not put a football club in debt, and all the suggestions are that he would either put us out of debt immediately or have a structure in place that would get us out of debt very quickly. So I don't see why they're being compared, really.
I don't. Brian Kelville says, sorry we spent $1 billion and won little to nothing, and sorry we did bring in duds like Sanchez in the winter window. Sick of hearing excuses. Yes, we did. We wasted money, and you have to ask yourself the question, is that all just on all these managers? Were they sanctioning the deals? I remember when Jose Mourinho, in his summer transfer window, after we finished 19 points behind City, was given Diogo Dalot, Lee Grant as a third choice goalkeeper, and Fred, who he didn't want. And I know he didn't want him because he said so.
He got given 3 players who didn't make our starting 11 better. That's how you go and win a league.
And he didn't want any of them, I think. It was madness, and you have to look above just the manager in that situation. Hopefully when new owners come in, they'll get football people in place, whoever those new owners may be. Let's move on. Don't forget to check out Last Man Standing in the link, and say Stretford Paddock send you if you get involved in the comments. Let's talk about Amad Diallo.
Yes.
Go on.
Diallo will be invited to the FA Cup final ahead of a possible role in the United squad next season. Well, he ought to be, because he's a United player who presumably his loan ends at the end of May, and the FA Cup final's in June. So he should have a ticket if he wants it. It is understood that Amad has a cup final suit reserved in his measurements for the showpiece occasion against Manchester City on June the 3rd. Showpiece occasion sounds like it's Google translated this.
Showpiece occasion, wasn't that the name of your tribute band to Fairground Attraction?
That's why you tune into Stretford Paddock right there. You don't get that anywhere else. Fucking brilliant stuff. Against So he says, United want Ahmad to feel involved as he prepares to return to the squad ahead of the pre-season tour of the United States. Ahmad, 20, has been in scintillating form during his season-long loan with Sunderland, scoring 13 goals and tallying 3 assists in 37 championship appearances. I like that. It makes sense to me that he would be, someone that could go to the FA Cup final if he wanted to, as he is a Manchester United player. But it's nice, and hopefully that's been a thing where they've reached out to him and said, you're part of this team, we want you to be there as part of the rest of the squad. Yes, Jay?
Yeah, someone just put something in the comment. I love Alex Buckingham says, proper chat GPT article. It does feel a bit like, it's not just the wording of it, which is obviously a bit bizarre, but it's like, it's kind of meaningless.
Yes.
Like, Diallo will be invited to the FA Cup final. As you pointed out, he's a Manchester United player.
Yeah.
Of course he is.
I bet Alex Tellers has been invited.
Yeah. Ahead of a possible role in the United squad next season. Well, yeah. Possibly he is. Yeah. Possibly he's not. Like, it's just, I get it, because it's like, we need to write something, and Diallo, the bit about he's getting his suit measured, okay, whatever. There's something there, but it's very sort of wishy-washy, isn't it? Yeah. Not really saying there's anything.
On Diallo himself, I think it's very good that he's had a starring role in them reaching the playoffs, which is something that was maybe the upper limit of a Sunderland fans' hopes for this season. I don't think they were certainly favourites to get playoffs. My only concern is, I hope this isn't a sort of James Garner situation where very good season in the Championship, gets his team to playoffs like Garner did with Forest. He got them promoted, or not he didn't get them promoted, but they were promoted and he played a big part. But then he was deemed, 13 goals in the Championship. I've seen Mitrovic do that 6 times. I've seen Grant Holt do that. I've seen, plenty of players do that who then, Glenn Murray's done that many times. Jordan Rhodes has done that. I know they're all strikers, but the point I'm making is, I don't think 13 goals in the Championship necessarily means he's going to be an improvement over Anthony. However, it's definitely good that he's had a good loan spell, because we see plenty of players go away and have bad loan spells and it didn't work out and this, that and the other. There's definitely optimism there. My worry is James Garner, 12 months ago, had an equally exceptional season for an equally exceptional team, and it didn't, he didn't even get a game for United this season. He was sold in the summer. So, what's your sort of gut instinct feeling with Diallo?
Me and you were chatting upstairs about this the other day, and I like Diallo, and I want to see him feature for Manchester United again. I have a feeling he won't. I don't know why. I just don't think, and I would have had the caveat. If it was up to me, he would. I think the manager's going to look at it and go, I don't need Anthony, Palestri, Sancho, Rashford as well. If we bring in a 9, he's going to be back on the left wing.
Yeah.
And Diallo. I need to make it, and Garnacho.
Yeah.
I need to make a decision on some of these players. And I think it might be Diallo who ends up going. I think he might go, I need to bring in some funds as well. Diallo's stock is pretty high. I can probably get a few quid for him.
You can probably get 15 million for him straight to Sunderland.
Yeah. Like I can do a deal, because he was quite decisive with Garner, wasn't he? There wasn't like Jimmy Garner barely played pre-season. He was injured. I think he had one game when he came back from injury in pre-season, and then he was off to Everton for 11 million quid, and everyone was like, "What? This is a kid who's been raved about in the academy for years,
a decade almost, since he was a real young kid."
Banging season for Forest, including against Premier League opposition in the FA Cup run when they beat the likes of Arsenal and Leicester, and he was outstanding in those games. He played well against the Scouts as well. I know they lost, but it was like the manager just went, "Nah, he's not for me." And I just wonder whether, with the options he's got and the fact he still seems to like some of these players and uses them, the ones that are in the first team now, whether Diallo might just end up getting sold. And I think it'd be a shame, because I do rate the kid, but I don't know, I'm just getting that vibe. I don't know. He tends to be a bit decisive with certain players. Eric Ten Hag.
Yeah, I do think Garner was really unlucky with the timing of that injury at the start of pre-season. And hopefully, if nothing else, Diallo will get a full pre-season at United. Hopefully there's no injury.
I hope so.
He's fully fit, and if nothing else, he's done a very good job of cementing his career in English football, and he's going to be someone that is sought after, even if it's not at Manchester United. But like we said, hopefully it can be, and we've seen pre-season he impresses Ten Hag, and another option off the right wing, because basically it's Anthony or no one at the minute.
Yeah, Palestri's all right for a little cameo in it. I know he can play on the right. It'll be interesting to see. I don't know. I feel like there's a decision to be made. You can't have 6 wingers.
No.
That doesn't work, especially, no disrespect to them, 6 wingers, and a few of them you're not sure at the levels you need. It's different if you've got 6 wingers that are all amazing. Let us know what you think. Get involved in the chat in the comments and hit that like button. Luca Mora says Ten Hag was supposed to give youth a chance. I think he does to a certain degree, but I think he's been quite strict with it, if that makes sense. He's not, like, we saw Zidane Iqbal and Charlie Savage pre-season smash it. Didn't really get much first team action, did they?
No.
After that pre-season, which surprised a lot of people, myself included. Obviously, Garnacho has been given chances. Kobe Mainoo's been in and around the first team a few times. He does, but I just don't think he's like mad giddy on dishing out appearances.
No offence, and this isn't aimed at anyone in particular, but no top teams, a manager comes in, puts in 6 academy players, and they finish in the top half even. It just doesn't happen anymore. You know, it's the era of just being able to go, right, here's 5 new players from the academy. Oh shit, we're winning games. That doesn't really exist. Garnacho and the odd appearance for Mainoo and Pellistri is about as much as you can hope for, really. Because
you got to remember, like, everyone goes back to the class. You make a good point. Look, class of '92.
Yeah.
And how they all came through, and we won the league. And that is for starters, is an anomaly. You're not going to get 5 or 6 players from the academy, or 5 players from the academy coming through. But if you look at that, Ryan Giggs made his debut in 1991. David Beckham, if you ever watched Class of '92 documentary, said how when he got to, I think it was 25 appearances, you got to keep a car, and he had to wait for about 2 years to get to it. They were brought in so slowly over a period of years by Fergie, who had so much credit in the bank and everyone had patience, he could do what he wanted. And yet, these were some of the greatest players ever, like Scholes and Beckham and Giggs. I put them in that bracket.
Yeah.
But they took time. He didn't just come in and go, right, all 5 of you lot, you're in the team.
No.
And if he did, we wouldn't have won that title in '93 if he'd thrown in a load of 17-year-olds.
Yeah.
So you're right, it does take time, and this is what a manager of Erik ten Hag, who's still got to challenge and win things this season whilst bringing in youngsters. He's got to be a tad cautious with that, and I get what he's doing. Con200 says, didn't Diallo get 2 goals against Roma or Milan in Europa last year, and then didn't really get another go? Scored a few goals in pre-season also, in this pre-season also. I remember he scores Milan, wasn't it? In the
it was a header, wasn't it?
Yeah.
European debut, like over his head, but I think it was only 1 goal.
I thought it was 1 goal. I might be misremembering.
But either way, that did happen.
Callum Penny says, "Bring back Norman Whiteside." Love Norman Whiteside. Should we move on?
Yes, interesting one. This Mateo Kovacic. This is coming out of the Guardian, so pretty reliable source here. So that Chelsea have accepted that they are likely to lose Mateo Kovacic this summer. Bayern Munich, Man City and Manchester United are all interested in signing Kovacic. He has a year left on his deal, and the uncertainty over his contract has put his future in doubt. Chelsea, who will not be playing in Europe next season, need to decrease the size of their squad after a wild spending spree, and their owners, Todd Boehly and Clearlake Capital, are reluctant to keep players once they have entered the final 12 months of their contract.
Go on, give me your thoughts on this.
I think to me, Mateo Kovacic is very much a nearly player. He's nearly a world-class dribbler. He's nearly a very good passer. He's nearly defensively excellent, but he's not actually that good at any of them. Like he can't, like, I know he's not a finisher by any means, but like you see him in front of goal occasionally, you think, go on then, he'll dribble past 2 players, get in front of goal and spoon it out for a corner. Like he's someone that, I think Chelsea have got a lot of players like this actually, especially now Kante's past his best, of where you go, what are you actually amazing at? What is Mateo Kovacic fantastic at?
Yeah.
Because I can tell you what Bruno's fantastic at, I can tell you what Eriksen is, what Casemiro is. I can't. Maybe he's the all-rounder that will just help this team tick in midfield. And I think he's probably a better player than Sabitzer. I think he's definitely better than McTominay and Fred. So if you could get him on maybe 25 million-ish, because it's his last year of his contract, there could be something there as a, if he's one of your 5 midfielders, he'll do a very good job, in most games. But I don't think he takes United to the next level. I just don't think he's got any attributes where you go, fucking hell, he's amazing at that. Do you know what I mean? Or am I being slightly harsh on him there?
No, you're not. I get it. You've got Sabitzer who's 29. Kovacic is 29 as well.
Yeah.
If you are, I mean, it might be one or the other, I'm not sure, but if you were to keep Sabitzer, I don't see you getting another 29-year-old in as well. Because then you're going to have a midfield of 29-year-old, 29-year-old, 31-year-old, 31-year-old, 30-year-old.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to last long, isn't it?
Yeah.
And also, 3 of them players, or 2 of them, sorry, are all right. Yeah. They're not outstanding.
No.
So I do feel like at some point you have to have a midfield option that, is mint, or is progressing or has yet to hit their peak. You can't have your entire midfield and your bench all past their peak. That is just all at their peak. That doesn't work. So I am a bit wary. I know I'm sort of making it so proper basic of, well, you're the same age as the bits and you can't. But I do think there's an argument like, if your entire midfield's average age is 30, then you've got an issue there. And fair enough if you're coming out the back end of a team that's been dominating, but we're rebuilding. You can't start off with a midfield like that. Fair enough if it's like, this is 2013 with midfield under Fergie, where we're just on having a swan song. But we're talking about rebuilding. And also, anyone who watches this will know I've made my thoughts clear on Chelsea's options at the minute. I don't think the players that get in the team all the time are good. So ones that don't, I'm not about that, to be honest with you. So it's a no from me. And I hate this idea of like, we'll just get him. Just get him.
Because anyone's better than X. Anyone's better than Y.
Because you've got to pay wages. You've got to pay some sort of fee if he's got 12 months. It's another body. And what you don't want is, you see, like you said there, he's not outstanding at anything. You don't stand out. You're 1-0 down or you're trying to protect the lead. Let's bring on Kovacic. And it doesn't help. It doesn't make the situation any better. Let's take off Casemiro and bring up Kovacic. Is that an improvement?
What does that do?
No. All right, let's take off Bruno and bring him on. Does that help? No. Let's take off Eriksen. Does that help? No. So where's the help? I understand that one of those players might be injured, so someone might have to come in, and by definition that player probably isn't at that level. But I think this is, at the very best, a bit of a sideways step. Like, is he that much better than Sabitzer? Is he that much better than Fred? Is he that much better than McTominay? You could argue he is, but not enough to make me go out and get him. And when Todd Burley's giving players away, basically, you have to ask yourself why, considering he signed shite. Get involved in the chat and the comments. Luca Moore, I mentioned this earlier, it's upstairs to you, says, get in Lavia. This is a kid from Southampton we've been linked with, haven't we? Daniel Berry says, Kovacic is better option in that situation than Eriksen. Jay Cowder says, maybe Tielemans, question mark. Maxo Diamond says, bring back Paddy McNair. Hey, there's a comment I didn't expect to see. Lewis Green says, Maddison, thumbs up. I think I know he's got, I don't know how long he's got left on his contract. I think James Maddison ended up costing you a bit, wouldn't he? And I don't know with Maddison, I don't know whether there's a real...
And his injury record's questionable as well, Maddison.
He seems to blow very hot and cold, Maddison. I do like him. I think he's a decent player.
He's someone that, I wouldn't spend the money that it requires to get him, but I can tell you what he's very good at. Like, he has got some qualities that are excellent. Like, he would make a difference to our midfield. I don't think he should be a priority. He costs too much, and I don't think he's an improvement on what we've got necessarily. But he's very good at creating chances. He's got a good shot on him. He can go past players, and he's got a really good work rate and intensity. I think Maddison's a very good player, but Kovacic don't really have that.
A couple of people have mentioned Ward-Prowse. Yes or no for you? No.
Kicky free kicky.
Kicky free kicky.
Kicky free kicky Ward-Prowse.
Do you know what? Do you know how amazing it is to be at Southampton for that long?
One club twat.
To not get sacked.
Ward-Prowse. Fuck off. I've got nothing against him. I'm just sick of it.
You wouldn't have thought
a set-piece specialist. Grow up. Who are you, John T. Rhodes, a fielding specialist at cricket? Either get people out or score fucking runs, dickhead. I don't want a set-piece specialist. I'm sick of that. Embarrassing. Embarrassing being a set-piece specialist.
With set-piece,
like the kicker at an NFL game.
I remember...
You're not a real player.
Chatting to someone at Fireside, and I'm like, you should take Ward-Prowse to the World Cup, because if you get a free kick, you can bring him on for it. I thought, he's not guaranteed. He's not that good.
He's not at fucking 70% success rate.
Like,
he scores one in 10 like everyone else, but they score 1 in 11 and he scores 1 in 10.
Yeah, like, that's not... If you get a free kick and you bring him on, the chances are he's not going to score it.
He's not a kicker in the NFL. He's not Johnny.
And then you've got him on the pitch as well at the expense of a better player, and you stuck with it. Like,
he's good. He's a good player, James Ward-Prowse. He is good, but just stay at Southampton your whole career, be a club legend, be slightly better than they were, but not quite good enough for the top teams, and just have a good career. That's fine. We don't need him.
Do you know what? I wouldn't bring him in for his free kick. Do you know what? I might be tempted for.
Because he looks a bit like Ethan, and we can compare the two.
I think you're doing James Ward-Prowse a disservice there, but okay. I'm only joking. Ethan's a very good-looking lad. Corners. Corners.
Oh, yeah.
He can take a corner, can't he? We've not had anyone who can take a corner in my lifetime.
Not since Phil Jones was taken up.
Like, honestly, I have never, in the history of supporting Manchester United since 1985, I was too young to remember Arnold Muir and whoever used to take them in them days, seen us with a very good corner taker. Beckham, I think you could argue, but sometimes he didn't even take him, and sometimes Giggs did. And he wasn't, he used to hit the first man. So, yeah, maybe Beckham, when he took them, was. But obviously, he didn't always do that. But other than that, we've just always been shocking at corners, and we still are now. And I hate this little corner routine we do. What, it's the 96th minute and we're chasing the game? Let's take 12 touches on this corner and then lose it. Honestly, it's infuriating. So, yeah, I've convinced myself, get James Ward-Prowse and just take corners and that.
I feel bad for calling him a one-club twat.
I think you should. I hope James Ward-Prowse signs for us, and I hope we get an interview with him and you're going to go and do it. And just before you do, we're going to send him the video of you calling him a one-club twat. Hey. See how you like that one? Like you're going to stitch me up with Peach Michael.
Jay, I don't like that one at all, mate.
Right.
In fact, I really dislike that one.
I think it's not really your thing as well to call people a twat.
No, I like him actually. He's a good player. He is a good player, but he's not good looking.
He's not really, is he? Come on, no. We're just sort of saying players that Kovacic, he's all right. The thing with James Ward-Prowse, he's not Matt Letizia. He's been at Southampton when they've been selling everyone, and they've not sold him. Yeah. And you think, well, why? And it's because no one's actually really gone for him, have they? No one's gone, he's the guy we want. Like, had they would have got him. Because you can buy anyone from Southampton if you really want them, can't you? Yeah. They sell everyone, which is why maybe the kid Lavia might be an option. Should we talk about something else?
Yes.
Let's get into this off the thumbnail.
Let's get into the meat on this bone, shall we? Jassim Eye Legends. Yeah?
Yes.
Stars from Sir Alex's most... This almost feels like... Do you know when like a charity match or something? Stars from Sir Alex's most successful teams will be offered prominent roles if Qatar take over. This is according to ESPN. It says here that the absence of the club's most renowned players within the United hierarchy is an issue. I mean, eat shit Darren Fletcher, by the way, who is currently the technical director at Manchester United. But, you know, there's a stark lack of former players in this team. So it says it's to address and ensure that the club takes advantage of the profile and experience of former greats in a similar manner to clubs such as Chelsea, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich and AC Milan, who all employ some of the team's most iconic players in senior roles. Players from the 2008 Champions League team have already been approached by Jassim's representatives. Who, Bayern Munich is a unique case because they've always done that. They've always got some like club legend as the owner or the CEO or whatever. Oliver Kahn's always chatting stuff, isn't he? Who's in at Real Madrid? Who's a former legend? I know Zidane obviously managed there, but that's not now. They're I don't know. We'll have to find that out. And who's in at Liverpool that's a former legend? I know you see a close-up shot of Ian Rush most games.
Well, I know at Liverpool they have, but everyone clubs does this, loads of ambassadors, don't they?
Yeah, we've got Quinton Fortune and Wes Brown and Mark Phelan's still employed by the club.
Yeah,
we've got Darren Fletcher as technical director. We do this.
I don't know. It depends what these roles are, and I'm a bit wary of sort of employing club legends into prominent roles, because A, you want to know what those prominent roles are, and B, just because someone's a club legend doesn't mean they're necessarily the best person for that job.
No.
We all love these players, ex-players, for various reasons. But if you used to say, right, I'm going to bring in Phil Neville and he's going to be in charge of the academy.
Yeah.
You know, why? What are you doing that for? Don't do that. Or I'm going to bring in Owen Hargreaves and he's going to be an assistant coach. I put Owen Hargreaves in charge of catering or the club shop. Yeah. But you know, if you're going to do that, I tell you what, good news, Carlos Tevez is the new manager. What? What are you on about? So, yeah, we have to you have to get the right people in the job. I've got no qualms, by the way, of iconic, legendary players being around the club if the right people for the right roles. And I think there was a sort of shift away from it a little bit too much. And then we've sort of gone back and forth, haven't we, where we've had a shift away from it and then a massive shift towards it under Ole. And now it's just about finding the right people and the right balance.
I want to see a video of Paul Scholes mowing the lawn at Old Trafford.
Yeah.
He's the new groundsman.
Yeah.
I want to see that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Do you know what I mean? Louis Saha working in the ticket office.
I want to see Patrice Evra in charge of the media.
Yeah.
Imagine him turning up wearing his kilt and with his bagpipes with one shoe off, like he did that time, eating a raw chicken, going, he's welcome to the press conference. Just going to serenade you with these bagpipes for the next 2 hours before we get started. Everyone's going, what is going on at Manchester United? It's all part of the plan, don't worry.
Yeah. It's if you are in the way inclined of calling this a sports washing exercise, then bringing in lovable faces of that exercise is pretty much sports washing 101, isn't it? People don't like the owners, so what we'll do is we'll have a fan's favourite doing the outward branch of the new regime. That sounds like a good idea. I wonder where we've got that from. That's fucking classic. Isn't it? What are you on about? Like, people go, oh, it's a good idea, like getting some ex-players in. First of all, loads of clubs getting ex-players to do all sorts of things because they've got expertise and experience. And secondly, that is literally PR 101.
Yeah.
Get someone who the fans like. Yeah, all right. Well, like you said, it depends what they're doing. It depends who it is. If you look at most of the most successful players under Sir Alex, unless I'm mistaken, in recent times anyway, certainly sort of post 2000, I think Roy Keane is the only one with a promotion under his belt. Maybe Steve Bruce as well, but he wasn't there post 2000.
Brian Robson did as well, but you're going back 30 years.
Yeah,
so 29 years. So
you know the sort of coaching and footballing acumen of a lot of these players is either untested or provably poor. So it would have to be very specific. And like you said, it's nice to have faces that we recognise and love in and around the club, and I would like that. But it has to work and it has to be right, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Ruud van Nistelrooy is doing pretty well at Feyenoord.
Yeah, no, listen, there are ex-players that are doing well, but you want them to fit the role. It's like, I know it's different, but when Moyes came in, he's like, right, Giggs and Neville are on my coaching staff, and I was like, great. But then apparently he didn't listen to him.
Because he's basically vice president, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ryan Giggs was VP.
Yeah.
Like,
so
it's a figurehead rather than an actual.
And I think there was a scenario, wasn't there, a few years ago where we were trying to get, funnily enough, Evra and Rio and people like that were being touted as the new director of football. And from what we heard, the role was almost meaningless.
Yeah.
That's why they didn't want to take it, because they wouldn't have had any power to do what they wanted to do. So it's got to be right on it if it's going to work. I've got no qualms with seeing it. Players that we all love back at the club. It can be a good thing, but it has to be the right appointment. Alex Buckingham has been a member of the first team for 30 months, says Owen agrees will get an RSI in his wrist when he's totting up the till at the end of the day in the club shop. Ant L says Roy Keane as motivational coach, laughing emojis. Right, anything else? Is that it?
That's
is that
it
your
for
lot?
us today.
Is that it? Wow, time's flown by, brother. Thanks to everyone who got involved in the chat and the comments. We've loved it. Tomorrow I'll be back with the news in the morning. Then we're going to have a tier list video, I believe.
Yes, tier list coming tomorrow afternoon.
With Joe Smith leading the way on that one. So make sure you are hitting like, share and subscribe. Don't forget to go and check out Last Man Standing with Bet Victor. There's a link in the chat and a link in the description as well. Tell them Stretford Paddock sent you if you give him a comment. Joe, where can people find you?
Joe Smith 93 on Instagram and Twitter, and hopefully my voice will be slightly better for tomorrow. Sorry about that if it's been distracting.
Well, you've almost ruined it, but I will let you off. It's only a one-off. Ivy J, this has been Paddock Live. Thanks for watching.